Hello everyone, it is a very not nice day. We're just in a parking lot hanging out. We're probably going to spend most of it inside. But I want to just quickly go over some van life essentials. The first half is going to be just safety stuff that I think is really, really important to have for emergencies and whatnot. And the rest are just going to be things you might not think that are that important, but end up being pretty important on the road. So follow along and I'll show you what they are. All right, we're inside, we're safe and sound, we're good. So, the number one thing, this might be controversial, the number one most important safety feature in van life, in my opinion, is this bad boy right here. The Humble dash cam. This thing is your eyewitness. If anything ever happens, if God forbid, you are in an accident, it is your word against theirs. Particularly if you're a solo traveler. If you drive anywhere, have a dash cam. They're cheap on Amazon. Get the best one you can afford. But there's ones for like 50 bucks. They don't cost much. They have a shitty SD card. If you are driving and there's an accident, you have video evidence. There is nothing that beats that. If someone pulls out in front of you and you can't stop in time, I know there's a lot of nuances to being at fault, but people do stupid shit all the time. And when you drive as much as you do when you live in van life, you see it all. I've seen cars pull out in front of me with this much room and it's like, this is a 6,000 pound vehicle. I do not drive fast, but physics enters the chat and I can only stop in a certain distance. And they could easily say blah, 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 especially if there's 2 or 3 or 4 people in the car. And again, it's me, and Winston, as cute as he is, cannot take the stand and say, no, that's not what happened. So having video evidence trumps anything. Because if anything ever happened, you would be kicking yourself for not spending 50 bucks on something to say, no, this is exactly what happened. Here you go. Okay, now, the nitty gritty, the real stuff. This bad boy. Any vehicle you drive ever should have one of these. Doubly so when you live in your vehicle. These are relatively cheap. I acquired this from my old place when I got rent-evicted. I don't feel bad. I would almost go so far as having 2 if you live in a van. Mine is kept right near my solar. It's easy to get to, but you have put all this time, money, and energy into this build. These are 25, 30 bucks at Walmart. They could be even cheaper or thereabouts. I would have one for the cabin and one for the, or when I say cabin, I mean place you live. And then one in the actual cab of the vehicle. Engine fires can happen. Of course, maintain your vehicle as best as you can. Engine fires can happen, but in this vehicle, I have lithium-ion batteries, I have propane, etc., etc., etc. Will this little one put out every single fire that is? Maybe not. But I'd rather have it and not. It's like an umbrella. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Next up, one of these bad boys. I have a wood stove that I've not installed yet. I still may not install it, but I have this propane burner plus my Mr. Buddy. If you're having anything combustible in your vehicle, there's a danger for carbon monoxide poisoning. Get one of them. They are cheap. This is battery operated. Just to show you that it works. It's going to be annoying. I apologize for the noise. But this is so important. It could save your life. I just have mine sitting up here beside my bed. So if there's ever a buildup, I'm warned that I can get out of here. This thing is fairly easy to vent out should there ever be a problem, which I've got the window. But this is a minimal investment that could possibly save your life if anything happens. Get one, get one, get one. This is my final one. So I live in Canada. We do not have what America has, nor do I really want it. But defending yourself. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2", about 230 on a good day. I have not had any problems. I also have a dog that, despite being a complete wuss, is a pit bull, and when he barks, he does sound scary. So if you didn't know how much of a wuss he was, he would make you back off. This was 10 bucks at a thrift store. It's aluminum. This versus a skull is not going to feel good. Any martial arts instructor will tell you the best defense from a fight is to run away. The toughest guys in the world will say, run away from a fight. That's the easiest way to win a fight, is to leave. Get in your car and leave. Should anything ever happen, this is right beside my bed. This is for self-defense, nothing else. I don't play baseball. But have some sort of legal way to defend yourself. We don't know what can happen on the road. I know there are people who prey on people, particularly female travelers. Women, be safe, whether it be a taser, what have you. Have a way to defend yourself that is easily accessible. We're now moving on to the less safety, more practical stuff that you don't really think you're going to use, but you will end up using. Okay, next up is this bad boy. This one they don't make anymore, but it is a portable power bank. Before my solar was actually fully hooked up, this is what I relied on. I spent all the money on my solar and it wasn't hooked up before I had to leave. So this is what I relied on. It was about 170 bucks on Amazon, if I remember. It's been through some times. It powered me for my first week. I used this well before I lived in a van, because where I live, we have power outages that can last for days. So this thing is a full AC inverter. It's got 2 grounded plugs. It's got 4 USB slots. It can charge via solar panel, vehicle, or with an adapter. It can just plug into a regular wall outlet. I always keep it charged. It has a light just in case, but like I said, this thing has lasted me for days and days and days. I was able to charge my phone for up to a week with it, and it recharges fairly quickly via a number of ways. So a relatively cheap investment that will just save your ass, and I just keep mine here, easy to get to if anything ever happens. So this is a digital multimeter. It is used for measuring volts, amps, etc. I held off buying one of these until I was actually way done my system. I'm like, I don't need this. It's stupid. I don't need to test. It works. It works. This thing has been a lifesaver. It was 25 bucks on Amazon. Super simple. You just hook the leads up. My version has clips too, so you can be hands-free. But everything from diagnosing car issues, electrical stuff, it is just so practical to have lying around. And kind of an addendum to that, whether you built your solar system or not, a good pair of crimpers. These were quite cheap on Amazon as well. But these, I would say, of all my electrical components, are what I've used the most. Like I said, this can be used not just on your solar stuff, but to identify vehicle issues. There's tons of YouTube tutorials that say whip out your multimeter to see if current's flowing. So absolutely would recommend getting one of these. So this guy is called a Mr. Buddy heater. There's various models of it, but it runs on propane. Right now mine is hooked up to a 20-pound propane tank that is in my little garage area in the back, which you can't see, but it powers both my Mr. Buddy heater and my stove. They're super simple. There we go. Light the pilot. This will give you good steady heat for a good amount of time. I did not have heat in my apartment for the past 3 winters, so this was the lightsaver. It was just me and the pooch. I would just heat the room that I was in. But these are 150 bucks Canadian. Usually they go on sale quite often, especially in the off season. But this thing is a good, reliable source of heat. Propane does fairly well in the cold, as long as it's not minus 30 or anything crazy. But you can run this thing on low. I was filling it up, running it off and on during the day every 2-ish months, and a propane tank is nothing. So for what it is, easy to get fuel for, easy to care for. This is my 4th year of using it. I have other videos on maintaining it if you want to watch those, but this is just an absolutely practical, super good source of heat to heat up a very small space reliably. Another good idea, this is one of those infrared digital temperature gauges. It's got a little laser. Winston, let's see how warm you are, buddy. 32, looking good. But again, you do not realize how important this is until you have one. Most practical for me is right now this thing is very poorly insulated and I need to work on fixing it, but you could identify cold spots to see where leaks are getting in. You can see how hot fire is for fun, but also, again, going back to vehicle diagnosis, it can do a lot to help relieve anxiety if you're hearing noises and want to look stuff up. If something is making noise, you can go and put this on the rotor or the bearing, and if it's a lot warmer than the other parts, you know at least that is kind of where the problem lies. So this was 15 bucks at Walmart. You can I'd probably get them on Amazon for quite cheap, and I would definitely recommend this for a number of reasons. And finally, this stuff. This is my second or third can of it. Flex Seal. It's relatively cheap. There's different kinds of it. I would say that this vehicle is roughly 30% Flex Seal. Even just today, I fixed a leak that I had. It dries fairly quick. It's easy to apply. I really recommend it. Obviously, don't at me. I still have to finish all this insulation. But anywhere you put your screws through for your solar panels, it is fantastic for getting those plugged. I do both sides. But as I said, any leaks, it dries really fast. I did not think how much I would be using this, but always handy to have. This lasts forever. I put it on the outside. If there's a leak developing, it will stop it cold. Like I said, do it on both sides where you put your solar panels. It will not let you down. It has not let me down so far. Cheap, easy fix. And this is kind of last because it's a want, not a need, but this little bad boy, this is a portable Bluetooth speaker. There's 8 billion of them on Amazon. They're usually about 20 bucks. This thing has played through my build off and on for a couple of years. It's super small. It takes up very small little space, but it's just nice to have some bit of home. I play music while I'm cooking. It makes it feel less lonely. Music really does help. Hey, Bubba. But it's just a cheap little practical, makes it feel like home, so you're not feeling depressed looking out into this world all the time. That's it. I just wanted to share that quickly. Practical video on things that are important. Whether you found that pointless, I'm sorry. Whether you found it useful, awesome. I know a lot of this stuff might be obvious to some people, but again, living this way, there's certain things that you don't even think about you'll be using, and you end up using them all the time. So if you are a van life, welcome to the journey. And we are entering winter here in Canada, so it's going to get pretty cold pretty fast. So we are going to do lots of learning in the next few months. So thanks for watching and have a great day.